Okay, so you're cool, right? You're gonna stay there. Nothing to worry about. Just whatever you do, stay cool. Okay, welcome to another Down the Rabbit Hole video. I wanted to talk about this guy and a character from Star Wars that this news surprised me, and relatively recently it became a subject, and I thought, I want to toss this out there to the crowd. Like, is this a thing? Does everybody know this except for me? The character we're talking about is here, EV-99, the torture robot in the bottom of Jabba's palace. R2-D2 goes in, Return of the Jedi, and EV-99 is there and says, "You'll soon learn some respect." This character, this is the Kenner original. And I'm going to talk very briefly about the action figure, but it's more the character and that guy, because somehow I missed the message. These are female? They are? Now, let's leave EV-99 for a second. Let's talk about that guy over there. When I was watching Alien, Romulus, in the theater recently, there is a line that is used, and it is such fan service, and it's not earned, and it's really bad, and it really makes me cringe to know that they approved this and stuck it in the script. But in a hearkening back to the second Alien film, one of the characters is putting down the drone warrior alien guy and, shoots and all that kind of stuff, and says the line that Ripley beautifully delivered in the second film: "Get away from her, you bitch." Sorry for the French, but that's where we're using that line for an important reason here. Now, in Alien Romulus, my problem is that line is not deserved. It makes no sense in the context of the scene. It feels like fan service in a way that is really problematic, and I don't like it. But in the second film, Ripley is using that line in a way that makes sense. The big alien that lays the eggs is now coming after Newt. Spoilers if you haven't seen Aliens. And Ripley comes out in the big walker and says, "Get away from her, you bitch." And I remember that moment in the theater. It took me by surprise. I was like, what? Oh, what? These things have a gender? This is a female? What? And then very quickly it occurred to me, well, yeah, it lays eggs. In this ant-like society, it would be a queen. It is referred to as the alien queen quite often. I was like, oh, okay, hadn't really thought about that before, but yeah, sure. Yeah, get away from her, you bitch. It's a female. Sure, makes sense. And it's such a good movie, and it's a good moment in the movie. Yeah! In Alien Romulus, it's not used against, this line is not used against the queen. It's used against these guys, the drones, the main warrior alien creatures. And so for me, in the bit in Romulus, it doesn't feel deserved. It makes no sense. Like, why would the character who delivers the line in this new movie think to say bitch in that scenario? Because there is nothing that indicates any kind of sex or reproduction. At least Ripley sees the eggs being laid, and that makes sense. So of course, yes, get away from her, you bitch, fits. In the new movie, it makes no sense at all, and it has completely cringed that line in a way. Like, it's so annoying that they decided to copy paste that into this new film for the fans, like a lot of stuff they did. But we're not here to really rag on Alien Romulus. What is important, not in the scene in Alien Romulus, not with that guy, because to me, I mean, for those who don't know, in the making of the very first film in 1979, the British crew people had a cute nickname for that. They called it Big Chap, hinting a male connection there. Now, it's, again, I'm sitting there in the theater for the second film going, these are aliens. There's no connection to sexual identification at all. There's no gender. They're just these alien creatures. Until Ripley walks out, get away from her, you bitch. And I was like, oh yeah. Now, that's fine for the sake of the Queen. This thing, though, if it's a drone, if it's like an ant colony, aren't they male? In the way that whole thing works? I don't know. Again, I've never attached a label of that type to these creatures, but when I heard it in Alien Romulus, I thought, okay, look, you're doing it for fan service, and it actually makes no sense at all. Now, how does this come back to EV-99? I was watching I get a lot of recommendations on YouTube for Kenner action figures, and somehow Jabba's Palace, maybe, isn't there a new playset for Jabba's Palace coming out, or it did come out a year or two ago? People were referencing various scenes that take place around Jabba, in the throne room, down below, the Rancor pit, all that kind of good stuff. And where R2 and 3PO are rolled in, and there's the fellas, making the feet burn on the little gonk droid and all that kind of stuff. And here's EV-99 saying, I'm going to put a restraining bolt on you. And I was like, yeah, exactly. And then the fella who was doing the video was just like, yeah, we hope to be able to use EV-99 in some bit in the playset. That would be really awesome because she's such a great character. And I was like, this is a female character? Huh? And I thought, okay, one-off, a random YouTube video guy, and maybe he just thought, well, EV-9D9, Evie is a girl's name, therefore. And then, but I started looking at the character, and I was like, well, it's tall and lanky, and I mean, on here, maybe is that like a little bit of a skirt? Is that what we're talking? Like, is there something about this character that is inherently feminine or female? Because I had never, in decades of watching the Return of the Jedi, I had never put together that this character was in some way a woman droid. I just never put that together. And yet, ironically, in The Phantom Menace, when Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon Jinn first arrive, they are met by TC-14, who has a female voice. And I never really connected droids with a gender before. Now, in TC-14's case, like C-3PO's case, your whole role is to be a protocol droid, to deal with other people. So that would make it easier for those people if they see or if they hear a voice that's either male or female. Sure, okay, that's explainable. EV-9D9? And I looked her up on Wikipedia. Yeah, there's a whole entry about like how she became this. She was originally an assassin droid. She is known as the Mistress of Durasteel. No, Mistress of Mayhem, the Queen of Durasteel. And I was like, wait. Okay, first of all, something that bugs me about the extended universe. They are always inviting and inserting things that I don't know were necessarily there from the original draw-up. And in fact, in the case of EV-99, she was performed by Richard Marquand, the director. Yeah. Now, it was a marionette, obviously, hanging on strings and doing what they could, and they turned the head with pipes and stuff like that. But apparently, on the set during that filming, it was Richard Marquand delivering the lines, and Anthony Daniels was apparently very impressed. He was like, oh, Richard does a very good droid. He channels droidism really well. He's a good droid character. And they even took Richard Marquand's voice line delivery and modified it and made it the buzzy, high-pitched, weird-sounding voice. So it was performed by a guy made to sound mechanical and distant and non-human. It's a non-human-looking form and shape. It's even got a little ability here. You can move the mouth up and down. That's pretty cool. I always like that about this character. I'm like, yeah, just like we saw in the film, you can actually make it speak. You can make it deliver Richard Marquand's lines. So where the heck do we get the idea this is feminine? Is it the name EV-99? I mean, does that resonate as, obviously it sounds like a woman's name, but like, is that where everybody got this idea that this character was a woman? I never thought that in decades. It was just in the last year or so that I saw this video. So at the ripe old age that I am, and I will not give a number away, I just thought to myself, wow, something I never knew is apparently a thing, I guess, in the Star Wars world. This is a woman. Like TC-14 is a woman. I mean, you know, I will concede defeat that, like, yes, it's not like the idea of a woman droid and a male droid is impossible. That is canon. But EV-99? What is it about this character that made everybody... Was that established day one on the set of filming? Then why did you get Richard Marquand to do the voice and do all the acting? Like, bouncing the marionette around. I thought it was just some slim, buzzing, insect-like bad person, villainous droid, like so many, like the Death Star droid or various others. Like, what is it that makes this female? What is it that makes that character over there female? Especially in Alien Romulus. I'm not going to get back into that. But anyway, I wanted to do a little sidebar combo Star Wars and Alien video because the two suddenly struck me relatively recently when I saw the film, and when I saw that YouTube video about this action figure. I was just like, wait a minute, EV-99 and that are considered female? Who else thinks that? That's news to me if that's true. Anyway, just thought I'd do a little video about that. So I'm going to put EV-99 back in the collector's case, and I'm going to very quietly sneak out of here so that somebody doesn't notice me leave. Until next time, I'll see you down the rabbit hole.